everybody. Welcome to another late night stream. Before we get started, I'd like to thank both Way Harris and Nobody, oh, mysterious, for the gifted memberships. And welcome to the party, DG. I see that you joined as well. It's so nice to see everyone. Oh, look at that. Tennessee and Zay. You guys are so generous. I want to thank you all. 80s model, thank you so much. That's right, I'm wearing red for Wanda. I got the thumb holes and everything. I'm ready to represent. I have some good news for you guys. Hey, Wiki Nomad. And I wanted to do a late night stream because people thought it would be fun. Hey, Paul. But then when I announced that we were doing a late night stream, some of you overseas were like, what? I'm in Europe, man. I got to go to sleep. So I want to thank you for as we try and play around and figure out what works. There's some late night stuff coming up that I think we're going to have a really good, fun time with. But it'll work. It'll work out. Thanks, Ryan. Hey, Kylie, that's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. I love the LGBTQ community. All right, you guys are fantastic. Griffin, thank you. You guys are so generous today. Wow, I really appreciate your generosity. Hey, Big League Chew. It's nice to see you. Yeah, late Friday night party, baby. Friday night. All right, so big week next week. 2 shows launch. Thank you, Amelia. Wow, you guys are being so nice. I really appreciate it. As I always say, it's the best way to support the channel. It helps out the channel, and somebody else gets a membership. So anyway, we only have Agatha All Along starting on Wednesday night, but Penguin on Thursday night. I'll be breaking down both shows. Agatha's review embargo does not lift until the show itself drops. So I will have my review go up when the show drops, and then afterwards my breakdowns will go. Thanks again, Nobody. Thank you, Pisces Moon Gal. That's a fun name. But thank you so much. So yeah, Marvel in DC. What a time to be alive! What a time to be alive. I can't even tweet about Agatha until Monday night. That's when the social media embargo lifts. Hey, Maria. Hey, Lisa. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's so nice to see you, Lisa. All right. Your generosity is very moving, all of you. Thank you so much. It really helps this channel. Particularly 2024 has been a rough year. You can ask anybody in the entertainment space, and they will tell you, from the people who make it to the people who cover it, it's tough. Agatha All Along is not a 3 a.m. drop. Agatha All Along is a 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time drop on Wednesdays, which I'm very happy about. That's going to make my life easier. It's going to make everybody's life better. Thank you, Wandering Seth. Welcome, Tristan. Hey, Shemi. All right, so let's get started, everybody. All right, so here we go. I have so many graphics loaded. That's the reason I was a few minutes late, because I had so many graphics to upload. I was like, oh, that's a lot of graphics. So I'm ready to click. Here we go. All right, so story number 1. Boop. Oh, I love that picture of Wanda. I was like, I want powerful Wanda. How could I get powerful Wanda? I had so many options for Multiverse of Madness. The best thing about Multiverse of Madness was that our girl finally got to shine. Sure, she was villainized, and I think not particularly portrayed in a very nice way, but at least she kicked butt. All right, so yes, don't worry, I still have the chapter times. Let me go get my arrow. Whew. Having so many graphics slows me down a little bit, but I think that it is beneficial to the coverage. All right, so this week, everyone was talking about a WandaVision movie. They were like, is this really happening? We've been teased so many times. We're pretty freaking tired of it. So I was like, I don't want to tease you anymore either. So, well, where did the rumor come from, right? So let's start off with Production Weekly. So, hold on, I'm in the wrong spot. Oh my God, so many graphics. Okay. Bam! So Production Weekly is a industry magazine. I think you have to pay for a subscription, but a lot of people have a subscription. That's right, Neal. We wants the redhead, right? From Pirates of the Caribbean, but also, interestingly enough, her color was the lady in red. So anyway, this little beauty popped up in Production Weekly this week. saying that this movie was set for 2026 and Scarlet Witch was being developed with Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito producing, Jack Schaefer, Megan McDonnell scripting, and Elizabeth Olsen starring, Sarah Finn, as always, the casting director. And then they're like, notably powerful, Wanda Maximoff has fought both against and with the Avengers, attempting to hone her abilities and do what she believes is right to help the world. Hold on a second, 1 second. Hold music. Do 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 sorry, family member trying to make sure. Just want to make sure everything's cool. All right. All right. So yes, hold on. It says, notably powerful, Wanda Maximoff has fought both against and with the Avengers, kind of, and attempting to hone her abilities and do what she believes is right to help the world. Okay. All right. Sorry. Darn it. All right. That's very frustrating. 1 second. Okay. That's what happens when I do a late night live stream. My family doesn't know I'm on live. Okay. All right. So, I think. Damn it. Okay. Just give me a minute, please, because I can't focus until I take care of this. Just hold on a second. I'm really sorry. Where is this? Everything's fine. Okay. We can focus on the live stream. All right. So, I think, I'm disappointed that I'll just say this, and I think I was distracted not only by the fact that I got a call from my family, but also that I really don't like this description of Wanda, that she's fought for and both against and with the Avengers. I feel like Wanda's story is such a mess because of what happened in Multiverse of Madness. I'm just, I feel like it's just, thank you, Tennessee Shand. I feel like did she really fight the Avengers? Like, it wasn't in an Avengers movie. She really just fought Doctor Strange, in my opinion. I mean, she's fought the Avengers in the comic. I just feel like, I wish that her story was on firmer ground. And we're going to talk about kind of the mess that they've backed themselves into. All right, so Production Weekly printed this, and so this came out, and everybody thought, does this mean that this is true? There was no confirmation in the trades, confirmation from Marvel, nothing like that whatsoever. I heard from my sources that you should consider this, but with a grain of salt, right? Because, where's the Deadpool movie? Where's Armor Wars? Blade. Where's Blade? Where's Armor Wars, right? There's just so many movies that have been in development that never came about. So I would say that this is right now a WandaVision movie is a twinkle in Kevin Feige's eye, but that doesn't mean it's going to make it all the way, right? I mean, yeah, that's right. Where's Shang-Chi 2? Where's Moon Knight Season 2? There's a lot going on. Now, as you can see, Jack Schaefer is involved here, and Jack Schaefer has really become... the concise answer as to whether or not this is true, I guess my answer would be, it's not true. That's where I would put it. I'm not going to be like, yeah, the Wanda movie's coming. But I think that the odds are, more positive than negative, I would say, with this. I'll just say this right now. I honestly feel that the reason that, Production Weekly doesn't put stuff in themselves. Somebody from Marvel has to enter this information into Production Weekly. I suspect that this was entered into Production Weekly to benefit Agatha all along. That's my guess. Because, they're connected. And so I feel they wanted everybody to feel, hey, don't give up on Wanda, even though she's probably not going to show up in Agatha all along, because she's coming. So you want to stay, so I think that they're still going to watch Agatha all along to see how it performs, and then they'll decide if they're actually going to make a WandaVision movie. It's too, as you said, Daft Tool, it's very sus. It's very sus. I think Agatha does not have hype, Adam Sphere. I would guess that Disney's very nervous this is going to be another Acolyte. Hey, Steven, I think it would be to their benefit if people who weren't interested in Agatha all along would just ignore it. However, people made so much money off of trashing the Acolyte, they might feel that this is their next gravy train, which concerns me. I'm very, very, very nervous about it. And again, they're only sending out the first couple of episodes. So we don't, critics aren't going to be able to tell you if it sticks the landing. No one's going to know. So I guess that's a good way to look at it. They are open to making a Wanda movie, and they're using it to promote Agatha all along. It's very, very clever, but it could backfire on them. But I think if Agatha runs into trouble, the whole thing might just go away. Hey, Drago, New York City. Thank you for that. Now, to me, what's fascinating is that I think, I hope they're not doing a similar thing as what they did with the Marvels. Okay, so hold on. I do like Jack Schaefer. I'm glad that she's continuing to have ownership of the character. And again, I don't think it's accidental that the woman here who's involved in the movie, writing the movie, okay, potentially, is the one behind Agatha all along. They're really trying to, get you on this team, all right? So there's Jack Schaefer. Now let's talk about Agatha all along, okay? Now this was very interesting to me. This is the current header, okay, on Marvel's Twitter account, which to me is very interesting because let's just make it bigger so you can really see it. That is some real Wanda hand action there. Hello. All right, so you've got Aubrey Plaza as Rio, and then you've got, I don't know why they're not playing up Wiccan. The whole point of watching this show is Wiccan. But instead they decided to call him Teen, okay? I feel like, we'll see what happens. Jack Schaefer is not a comic book fan, so I'm not sure if she's making the right choices. But anyway, they're giving you every possible witch they can but Wanda. You're like, that's nice, but where's Wanda? I specifically requested Wanda. It's like, where's my arrow? You know, it's like, what I ordered, what I got. What I ordered, what I got. I mean, hopefully the show is really good, but I'm nervous about it. And again, why is it every freaking witch but the one that we asked for? And I'm worried. Also, I feel like they're diluting Agatha's brand. I'm like, how many witches are there? They're like, there's a lot of witches. There's an infinity stone level of witches. They all have a different color. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before. The Scarlet Witch, they never play it up. I mean, again, this is kind of like Jack Schaefer's like, the Scarlet Witch, eh? Maybe we should play up that other witches have different colors. And you're like, where the heck did you get that from, Jack? And she's like, my imagination. And you're like, that's a dark road. Speaking of dark roads and witches' roads. So, yeah, that's a good question. Ban Misogyner says, but it doesn't take away from Doctor Strange. To me, Doctor Strange is like in a different space. He's like the master of, the mystic arts. I think I like he and Wanda because Doctor Strange is so powerful. I like them kind of being peers. And I really don't feel like we ever got them to fight each other. I would much rather see Wanda teaming up with Doctor Strange and Loki than like whatever's happening here. Right? I'm like, that's who I'm interested in. Doctor Strange, Loki, and Scarlet Witch. And, bringing in, Clea, Brother Voodoo. That's the characters that I'm interested in. But again, I think Jack Schaefer wanted to lean in more on the women's situation. Galerium says, I don't care about comic book accuracy. Jack's ideas are very fresh. They are fresh. But again, let's see. The proof will be in the ratings. Like a lot of certain fans. Oh, yeah, Nico Minora. Yeah, where's Nico Minora? I can't believe they have all these witches running around and Nico Minora isn't one of them. But I will say that, a lot of people were very excited about the storytelling in Ms. Marvel, but the ratings were very low and that really hurt the Marvel's movie. And we're gonna talk about that. All right. I heard that Wanda, let's just say I wouldn't get your hopes up for Wanda appearing in Agatha all along. You never know. They might have filmed something at the last minute. You don't know. They're holding back on these final 4 episodes, even to press. So you don't know. You don't know for sure. Okay? All right. So let's talk about whether or not this is too late. That to me is another really important question. All right. So hold on. Let me get rid of that in Production Weekly. All right, so I do have some concern that a Wanda Scarlet Witch movie might have missed its window, right? Like, there was WandaVision, and then it fed into Multiverse of Madness. That was an exciting time. It was an exciting time to be watching Disney+. It was an exciting time to be watching movies. Multiverse of Madness made almost $1 billion because of, the Wanda, people being interested in Wanda and in her full powers. Especially after she leveled up at the end of WandaVision. But it's been a minute since those movies. And now they're moving us in a different direction with Agatha all along. I would go so far as to say the future of the Scarlet Witch depends almost entirely on how Agatha all along is received and performs. So that's really, really crucial. So I think there's some concern there. Then there's, of course, the other big question mark, again, as I said, is this going to be another Acolyte? Okay? I think that my arrow's in the wrong place. I think that's just a real concern. Last time that they put out screeners for the Acolyte, let's see what happens. But, one reporter decided to flip with the Acolyte. And to flip to go to like the toxic kind of coverage, because I guess there's a lot of money there or whatever. But it was weird to see somebody flip like that. And the person flipped, hey Elpidio, and they teamed up with another kind of toxic channel, and they really ruined a lot of stuff about Acolyte. They put out some spoilers. They really laid the groundwork. It wasn't a trade reporter, Mika. They really laid the groundwork for episode 3 being hated upon, which, that was really scary stuff. And they salted the earth for the Acolyte. And it was unfortunate. And I think a lot of people, of course, formed an opinion of the Acolyte before it even came out. That hasn't happened with Agatha. thank goodness. But there has been a real lack of interest in Agatha, to be honest with you, which concerns me. Like they did a Hot Ones with Patti LuPone and, I'm blanking on the name, Aubrey Plaza, and it did not do well. Obviously Hot Ones and Agatha aren't the same audience, but is it too small an audience? That to me, I'm very nervous about. I don't know if Agatha is maybe too small in its scope. The reason that WandaVision did so well was because it had a Vision, who of course is an Avenger, and also it was building off of House of M, where Wanda goes crazy, a famous Avengers comic book storyline. And so people were a lot of interested in it for that reason. All right, so let's talk about the next thing, and that's lack of source material, something else that's really concerning to me. All right, so as I said, the House of M, let me get rid of poor Jack Schaefer. House of M is probably, I think that Kevin Feige is like in a weird spot that Wanda became so popular with fans, because Wanda has never been popular in the comics, interestingly enough. So this is truly a character that has been elevated by the live action movie and TV fandom beyond what they were in the comics, which is very, very interesting to see. Loki, to some degree, had that same kind of situation, but Wanda has just never been a particularly popular comic book character. That's right, Elizabeth Olsen deserves a lot of credit, Ricardo and Mystic. I agree with that. So the issue becomes there isn't a lot of material for Kevin Feige to work off of because the character wasn't very popular, so she wasn't written for a lot. And also a lot of the stuff that happened with her with Vision and West Coast Avengers is going to be used for his show in Vision Quest. So that's a little bit difficult as well. All right, so House of M. Arguably her most famous story, she was not even at the center of it. She was the villain of that story, and she was actually not even in it that much, besides bookending it. When she first loses her mind, and then at the end when they pull her out of House of M, but then she says no more mutants, kind of like as a closing salvo. And then even Children's Crusade. She's not even a major character in Children's Crusade. Wanda is a character that is always having stuff done to her. She's always in the distance being reacted to. And I think maybe that's why, now that I think about it, maybe that's why Kevin Feige is struggling switching her to the lead from her perspective. Because there have been, thank you, Ben Misogyner, there have been really no comics until recently, we're going to talk about that have had Wanda as the main character. And so that's tough. Now, Dane says, what about Witch's Road? Well, I have that loaded up, Dane. But here's the problem. Yoink, they've taken Witch's Road and used it for Agatha all along. So they've taken this comic book story that did focus on Wanda, and they've given it to Agatha. So they don't have that for Wanda. And that's right, Ben 10, Witch's Road, while a lot of people who are Wanda fans like to point to it, it's very true. In the comic book world, ain't nobody cared about this story. Didn't make any waves. No one talked about it. It is not an iconic comic book story. And so that's something important to remember. Now, there's a current Wanda comic with art, or at least covers, by Russell Dauterman, who I'm so proud to say was the artist on my original comic, Superbia. Now he's a Marvel artist extraordinaire, but he started out actually, one of his first major gigs was my comic, Superbia. He's very, very talented. I wish he did more interiors. He did the interior on Thor when it was Jane Foster, and I wish he was doing the interiors on this book. But I will tell you, the current comic is awful. Awful. Absolutely awful. And this comic, I think, should be creating stories that could be turned into a movie. And it has done no such thing. So it's kind of a waste. But, that's another problem that I think is slowing Kevin Feige down. Kevin Feige's like, I'd love to make a Scarlet Witch movie, but I don't have any material to rest on, as a safety net. So let's talk about Chthon. Now, does anybody here know who Chthon is? You're a little before me. Oh, you're a little delayed. A couple yeses. A lot of people know. All right, so Chthon, he's basically the god of the Darkhold. He's a little Mephisto-like, you might say. But let's talk about Chthon. All right, so here he is. There's a couple of really nice pictures of him. He and Wanda are very much tied together. Although now, of course, she's been reimagined to get her powers from an Infinity Stone. So I'm not quite sure. It's pronounced Chthon? Who the heck would know that? That's ridiculous. All right, well, whatever. This dude, okay, he is very much linked. It's a guy, but you can see here he's often kind of like crossed with Wanda. Boy, look how low his pants are cut there. Woo! Sexy time for that god. So you can see that's her dealing with him in a lot of her artwork. And she, once again, she gets possessed all the time. All right? So yeah. So not only, I like this image on the bottom right in particular with them melded together. I think that's kind of cool. All right, so he's an evil god, all right? But then, interestingly, here he is in an early comic when he had a different look. There he is, see? And that's when Wanda and Pietro were born, twins on Wundagore Mountain. And there's their mom being like, I'm so happy that I have these cute little twins. And Chthon's like, yes, at least one of them is mine. All right, so, and then, of course, there's Mount Wundagore from Multiverse of Madness. There's a little bit of a better look at it. Woo, woo. But, it fell apart and fell on top of Wanda. Whew, what a horrible rental story. So I heard that they're considering going with this character. Again, this movie is in such early stages of development that it still might not even happen. And, we've heard many stories, some most recently from Bo DeMeo, about things that maybe they were thinking of doing. We had our think tank ourselves the other day about Home Alone 3. A lot of ideas get thrown out there. But I heard that, this character is at least on Kevin Feige and Jack Schaefer's radar. All right. Then finally, this is what also concerns me. I don't really know if I would have made the Agatha All Along show, to be honest with you. From a business perspective, I think it might end up being a mistake. But let's see. I hope it's good. I hope it can ride the Beetlejuice wave, right? So anyway, so here you can see there's another poster with all the witches and Chthon. And I liked that instead of him being a warlock, Joe Locke says that Billy is also a witch, which I thought was an interesting choice. I hope, he's skating on thin ice with some of his comments, but I think I like his talent. I think he's very talented. I like what the ideas that he has. I hope this works out for him. I'm a big fan of his. I'd like to see this go very well for him. So yes, he calls Chthon a witch, not a warlock, and I think that's a really nice choice. But again, you're also kind of feeding the trolls, unfortunately. All right, now here's the Marvels, though. Now, for instance, there's Billy. Okay, there's Joe Locke, and a press event for Agatha. Now, if they make a Scarlet Witch movie, would it involve these characters from Agatha All Along? Would all these witches be a part of it? Right? How could they not be? Since Agatha is such a big part of her story. Her children, Billy and Tommy, we haven't met, we have no idea when Tommy's coming, but they have to be a big part of the story as well. How could, I think it's almost, again, nothing's confirmed until we actually see it because, they change things a lot at Marvel last minute. But Billy has the same powers pretty much as Scarlet Witch, only they're blue. He's blue. She's red. They have, I guess that's maybe also where Jack Schaefer got this from. To me, it's a little bit too much like the Infinity Stone, so it bothers me a little bit. But, the Marvels had a real problem in that 2 of the 3 characters were introduced on Disney Plus, and therefore it made the movie not seem like cinematic, like theatrical. And so how are they anchoring Wanda too much in the TV space? Because both WandaVision and now Agatha all along were shows. How would you level up a WandaVision movie to be a theatrical level? You'd have to have a character and another Marvel character like Doctor Strange that would pull everything up. You need maybe even 2 of them. You can't, it would be hard. And Dane makes a good point that the Black Widow movie came too late. Unfortunately so. It missed its window. Although we'll see if Thunderbolts can make up for that. So, Niall, I think your idea, I don't love everything you've suggested. You said we need only Wanda, Agatha, and Billy. Cillian Murphy is the Emerald Warlock and a Magneto post-credit scene. No! Bring in Wanda and Pietro and Polaris. Bring in her family. That maybe would help. This movie, by the way, if it were made, it's currently on track. It would conceivably be on track for 2026. So that's pretty far away. But I think, a new the MCU Magneto, Quicksilver, somehow, I think maybe people would be interested in that. All right, so that's my comments on this. Thank you for your patience with me with dealing with that phone call situation. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments about this story? Where'd my arrow go? Hold on, I'm prepping for the next one. Glubby, so nice to see you. Says Olsen has Multiverse of Madness's box office and her co-lead status in it to back her up. I highly doubt Agatha's performance will negatively impact a Wanda solo movie more than a tiny bit. I disagree. I don't think it would destroy it, but I think that it would potentially delay it. Steven says MCU Wanda borrows a lot from comic Jean Grey. WandaVision even talked a lot about the Phoenix, took a lot from the Phoenix Resurrection. I don't think that I think that's intentional, and I think it would be a mistake to do the Phoenix story yet again. Too much Phoenix, they've done it too many times. We don't need another version of it. Paul says, I'm in because I love the Halloween atmosphere. For Agatha, I'm excited about it. I think it's smart, by the way, to make the finale a double episode as well, so that it wraps up the day before Halloween. I think that's really clever. Ricardo says, do you think Elizabeth Olsen might be to blame for this lateness of development of the Wanda lateness or development? I don't think Elizabeth Olsen is to blame. Maybe she should have stood up a little bit more when they were making Multiverse of Madness and been like, what is with the character assassination, man? But it is unfortunate. I think it's, for some reason, Elizabeth Olsen isn't clicking in Marvel or in Hollywood. I don't know why she's not getting more work. Let's see here. Claudina says, WandaVision was a story about grief that came out on the tails of the pandemic when lots of people are experiencing grief themselves and using TV to cope. I don't know if Wanda can recreate that. That's an interesting perspective. I do think that WandaVision had a tremendous amount of heart to it and an emotional core. And if Jack Schaefer can deliver that once again, that would be wonderful. Dane says, Grace, who's your pick for a director? I'm not sure. You know who I'd pick? This guy. Apparently the movie can't be put in theaters. Gary Doberman, I believe is his name. I just watched the Salem's Lot trailer. Oh, I'm glad you reminded me of that. I forgot to mention that in my Joker thing. We'll do it in a minute. The Salem's Lot movie is directed by Gary Doberman. And I'm not quite sure as to the final quality of the film because it's been put on Max, but the creepiness factor was delightful. So I would hire someone like that who I think could deliver strong visuals. I would pick Sam Raimi, but I thought he did such a horrible job with a female lead or a female character that I just wouldn't trust him again. Emilio says, feel like they're setting us up to either watch this show, either watch this show that you didn't ask for or you don't get what you really want. Maybe it is what it is. You better watch it. If you are interested in a Wanda movie, I highly suggest that you watch Agatha All Along and defend it online. The Acolyte did not have enough defenders to help it. Starry says, do you think they should split the movie between Agatha, Billy, and Tommy searching for her while she battles with whatever his name is, since she destroyed the Darkhold? Did she destroy the Darkhold? I guess she did, and then that roof fell in on her. It's ridiculous. I wish there was a stronger, more decisive ending to Multiverse of Madness. I don't know. She's supposed to be hanging out with Doom in Children's Crusade, but then we don't know what's going on with Dune. It's kind of a mess. Hey, Julian. Haunted Autumn says, I remain hopeful that Agatha will do well. It's spooky season and it has the perfect hocus pocus Halloween vibe. That would be wonderful if it did. But it's not, I don't know if it's for families, though. I think that might be a bit of an issue. Hey, Danny. I don't know if it's all ages entertainment. Let's see here. Garnet Fire says, would Wanda ever be considered a mutant in the MCU? Like the Infinity Stone activated her mutant gene like Kamala Khan and her bracelet. This is just a mess. You know, Ms. Marvel is not supposed to be a mutant either. Hey, Darren. It's ridiculous. Kay Walton says, Beetlejuice is not for families either. Yeah, but I don't think there's any reason that people wouldn't take a child to see Beetlejuice. Star Wars Opinion says, I think the... Star Wars Opinions, you changed your name. No wonder I couldn't find you. Thank you for gifting so many memberships on Monday. I really appreciated it. I think the MCU needs to follow the path of Gen V, and that Gen V has a lot of... the show Gen V has a lot of cameos, like Homelander. Well, it didn't have a lot of cameos. They were only cameos at the very end, in fact. Although I got to tell you, not very many people watched Gen V. All right, we're 40 minutes in here. Let's get to the next story, okay? All right, thank you very much. I know that Wanda's the big headline, but we've got some more to discuss. All right, let's go over and poop on Warner Brothers. All right. All right, hold on. All right, boop. Oh, whew, this is a rough one, boy. This is a rough one. So, I got to tell you, the chatter in Hollywood is bleak for Joker 2. We could be having quite the discussion come the beginning of October. All right, so how the heck did this conversation start? Well, the Hollywood Reporter put out an article the other day talking about the box office tracking. Thank you, Art Lover. Talking about the box office tracking for Joker 2. That it's looking currently at maybe a 70 million plus opening, well behind the first film's $96 million debut. Not great. I think if you look at the pre-sales, if you're not looking at premium screens, they're very bleak. One of you wrote me back on Twitter and said Lady Gaga fans were waiting to buy their tickets till the last minute. Oh, I sure hope so. Because this is going to, I think, because most of the world kind of likes to hate on women first, even though I think there might be some Joaquin Phoenix blowback, in fact, we're going to talk about that. I will say up front that Lady Gaga is going to take the hit for this. Because what's different than the first one? Lady Gaga. Now, it wasn't her idea to make it a musical, but that's just the way everybody's going to react. But I will say that thank goodness they at least saved her by changing some aspects of the ending that would have really been a problem. We'll see. I think that, I think Todd Phillips made a lot of bad choices. And I think he did this to himself. All right. But this is the article that came out. So let's, you like that, nobody? Okay. All right. So you guys want a late night spicy stream. I feel this hasn't been the spiciest of streams, but I'm working on it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So what could be the culprit? Why aren't people buying tickets? Is it the Rotten Tomatoes score? Oh, it's low. It's 62. Now, some people have pointed out that the first movie ended up with like 69 as the final Rotten Tomatoes score, but that was the final Rotten Tomatoes score. It started in the 80s. Then when the movie came out, it was in the high 70s. I remember when Joker hit theaters, it was like 79. So that was better. Like it's at 62. 62. Now when this Rotten Tomatoes score first debuted out of Venice, I thought they might quickly get another bunch of reviewers to come see it to try and get the score up. But I'm surprised that they have not done that. However, the movie's a month out. But I think they might have some concern that while the review score could go up, it could also go down. This is 2 points away. If it goes below 60, it's going to have a green splat next to it. So I haven't seen the movie yet, okay? They only let people see it who are like top trades, and really only because those people went to Venice. Anybody who went to Venice saw the movie, okay? So that's why you've seen some lower tier outlets because they paid to go to Venice. And I think that's fair. If you pay to fly all the way to Venice and pay for airfare, hotel, meals, you get to review Joker first. Do I think that this movie needs critics' reviews? I think if it were more on the line, it would not. But I think that, I think it does. I think, nobody likes a clunker. And I think this is shaping up to maybe be a clunker. And that's the image that I think, people are. And also, I just mentioned Salem's Lot. That trailer looked really good. And that's going to be coming out on Max the day before Joker 2 hits theaters. So you might be like, hey man, why am I going to pay to see Joker 2 in theaters when I could watch Salem's Lot for free or no extra cost on Max this weekend? And, you'll go and see Joker 2 eventually. I'm really surprised that Warner Brothers would open up a really strong horror film on the exact same weekend. It's the same studio. And they're putting a major horror film from the producers of The Conjuring on Max at no extra cost. It's not even a digital release. It's on Max at no extra cost, literally the exact same weekend as Joker 2. So that's where reviews become important. You might look at a 62 or even a green splat and go, you know what? I'm going to watch Salem's Lot. I don't know if Salem's Lot is good. Warner Brothers didn't feel it was worth being a theatrical release, but I got to tell you, it sure made for a phenomenal trailer. Like a really incredible trailer. I watched that trailer last night and I was like, must watch. All right, so let's talk some more. Let's do some box office comparisons. Hey, Rogue Frogger. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, hold on. All right, so here's the arrow so we can see what we're looking at. These are DC films. I don't know why it starts with Suicide Squad. Bye, Thomas. I don't know why it starts with Suicide Squad instead of the earlier Zack Snyder movies like Man of Steel and stuff, but I guess this is where they decided the DC films would start. So there's Joker, rated R, opened with 96.2. And it got really high. This and Aquaman, what a funny pairing, are the only $2 billion pictures on the list. But speaking of Aquaman, $1 billion wow, it made $433 million. Boy, look, that overseas. People overseas sure like Aquaman. But still, that's less than half. So is Joker 2 going to be like Aquaman 2? That's what we potentially are looking at. This is very scary. All right, so if it opened at around 70, to be honest with you, that would put you probably right around where Black Adam opened. Now, Aquaman also opened at 67, yet got to $1 billion. So maybe it's still potentially doable. But yet also, Black Adam opened at 67, dropped like a rock, only made it to 390. So this is where the issue becomes. Is it going to be, I saw a couple mutterings of The Flash. Dare we, that's going to be just horrible. I think these movies are all disasters, though. Every single one of them. Starting with Black Adam. Black Adam, Shazam 2, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2. Just a slew of, someone just like, blah, 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 threw up all over there. And maybe it's not great that the Joker is following this. I think that, James Gunn's like, get me off of here. Make a DC Studios list. Why the hell is this why am I here? Get me out of here. Well, he actually had the Suicide Squad. But he's like, I don't want anything to do with the rest of this garbage. But yeah, Joker, it's a different space. Let's see what it came off of. Joker, it came off of Aquaman. People were still felt that there was some hope with the Snyder Cut. Wonder Woman did extremely well. It was a little bit better spot. But yeah, so it's hard to tell. Like, if it does 700 million, if it opens with 70 million, how big of a disaster is that? Well, I think it would be embarrassing. Sequels are supposed to build on the original film. So if you're opening, especially if it hasn't been like 20 or especially if it's been a long time. But, your opening box office numbers don't go down. Joker 2 shouldn't open smaller than Joker 1. Now let's look at another comparison. Hold on. Let's look at Deadpool, which is an R-rated comic book movie. So where do these movies open? They open much bigger. Deadpool opened at 132. Deadpool 2, 125, about the same. But then look at Deadpool and Wolverine. 211. 211 opening, all the way up to 1.2 billion. Joker is another R-rated comic book movie. It's DC's R-rated comic book movie. And I think for Joker 2 to have such a much smaller opening than Deadpool and Wolverine, I think is, again, it's blood in the water, once again, for DC. And also, I wanted to put Logan in here as well, which is the X-Men's R-rated movie. That opened with 88. Can you imagine Joker 2 opening lower than Logan? From 2017. I mean, that would be really disappointing. And that only got to 614. Let me ask you, I know you guys were running a poll. Where do you see Joker getting to worldwide box office? So we'll do 1 billion plus. Then we'll do $700 to $900 million range. This other one, okay. Then we'll do, let's do 500 to 600. And then under 500 million. Oh, God. The fact that that's not ridiculous, the fact that that's not a ridiculous question is what's terrifying. You might be like, why is that even in the poll? And then you're like, because it might happen. Well, let's go back to the DC box office. Yeah, I mean, DC has not been able to top 500 million since the Batman. And the Batman was pretty low. Vicente says, the biggest problem, Grace, I still believe, is that it's a musical. And I say that as a musical theater major. No, I agree with you. And not only that, but it's not an all-out musical. It's like a muttering musical. A muttering musical? You're like, what? Why? A low-energy musical? Hey, I'll predict it in a minute. Well, it's hard to predict when you haven't seen it, but you haven't seen it either. I'll predict it when I close the poll because people feel I influence the poll. But the fact, even the Batman to me was lower than I would have liked, especially for a $200 million budget. Look at the Batman. The Batman only got 765. I don't love that either. I don't love that. I would have liked it to be closer to $1 billion. I mean, it's Batman, for Pete's sake. I'm really nervous to see how Penguin does. I hope people watch it. Art Lover says, I think it's going to surprise us all and do great. Wouldn't that be nice? Although, I know stuff about the movie that I think is a mistake, so I'm nervous. Let's see here. All right. Okay, let me close the poll. Well, let me go back to what we're talking about. We have other stuff to discuss. Hold on. But let me close the poll. All right, hold on. All right, so it says, where do you think Joker 2 will go? I'll get to worldwide at the worldwide box office. 44% of you think 500 to 600 million. 30% of you think it'll get 700 to 900. 21% think under 500. And 4% only 4% of you think it'll get top $1 billion like the first film. I would say with the way things are going now, unless I see something significantly shift, I would agree with the biggest number, the biggest voting block, and that's 500 to 600 million. That's probably where I would put it. We'll see. Again, I have to see it myself. I have to see, what the conversation is. I have to see how people react to the choices that were made. But I do see it, quite around there. Thanks, Tennessee Shad. Yeah, if you could like this video, maybe hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, that's where I see it potentially at this point ending. All right, so Joaquin Phoenix, is it his fault? Interestingly, A new story came out today that James McAvoy was like, yeah, that Joaquin Phoenix is crazy. He quit Split 2 weeks before filming for M. Night Shyamalan. I think that's... Oh, thank you, Giancarlo. That's so generous of you. Thank you. But I just think that is ridiculous. I think that this is becoming like a running gag. And I think now people are laughing at Joaquin Phoenix. I think, he went from being an artiste, to someone who is now, I think, irresponsible. I think, your reputation is important. And the fact that he seems to quit movies all the time, I think seems kind of, as you guys were saying, sus. You're like, whoa, dude. Like, really? Like, I was like, I guess something bad happened here. But now there's all these stories coming out of the woodwork about how he quit stuff or almost quit stuff. And then you're like, now it's starting to make you look bad. I did like Split, but I can't imagine anyone but James McAvoy in the role. I think the film benefited from Joaquin Phoenix quitting. So then, of course, poor Lady Gaga. Poor Lady Gaga. As I said the other day, I said I felt Lady Gaga had a little bit of a Hollywood curse, and some of you brought that up and said it's true. This would be very bad for her. I really hope, the way, especially where we are today with the way women are being treated on social media, and I think the way that this, I don't like the narrative that because a female character was added to the movie, it didn't do well. That to me is very upsetting. So I hope that's not. I hope the movie does well. I think she looks really cool. I think one thing that maybe should be taken away from this is that she is very much a Harley Quinn for the female gaze. Yeah, or both the female gaze and the gays, right? But we've established many times before that what makes people, who goes to comic book movies? Guys. Guys. Straight men really are the ones who fuel the comic book films. And so, maybe they could have had something that had more broad appeal. Maybe the choices that she made. I mean, Lady Gaga is a very successful singer and performer. Wouldn't it make sense that everybody who buys a ticket to see her perform would also then go and see her in a movie? Although Taylor Swift's fame as a performer, as a music performer, has not been able to transfer to film. So I have some concern that not having a Harley Quinn that appeals to the straight male like Margot Robbie's did could end up maybe being a problem for the film, which I think is sad. Maybe the film shouldn't have had such a big budget. The first one, of course, had a much smaller budget, which really helped it. I just hope the movie's good. I hope that the movie is good. I hope at least the people who are meant to like it like it. Wiki Nomad says, I think the problem is that the stakes don't seem high enough. Example, Batman Begins versus The Dark Knight. Well, that's an interesting choice. I think you wonder that's an interesting comment. Like, where's the story going? Todd Phillips. I can't discuss it without spoilers, but this is a problem, I think a lot of things that also drive a film like this is, will there be a Joker 3? And Todd Phillips has made it clear that there will not be. So, Poke says, could be close to Beetlejuice. You think this will perform like Beetlejuice? I don't know. Beetlejuice opened bigger. Beetlejuice opened with 110. BG says, if this movie bombs, is Lady Gaga's acting career over? I wouldn't say it's over, but she'd need to seriously pivot, and I think that no big production would take a risk on her. She'd have to go find someone who was willing and felt they could take the risk. Because, how could she possibly upset? But I don't really think it's her. I think it's the musical choice. I think it's some of the story choices that you'll see once you see the film. J-Lo, I'll tell you what they changed in the spoiler review, but I don't want to ruin the film. But, she's in a tough spot, and I think this is really a problem for her. Alistair says Todd Phillips said there would be no Joker 2. We can't discuss it any further, but I think he's very emphatic this time. And I don't know how fans will react to that. Not just as I don't think this Harley will appeal to any gays. Oh, no, I don't agree, Nacho. Well, Nacho says, Nacho saying that she's been stripped of everything that made the character dominate the pop culture zeitgeist. I disagree. I find this version of the character immensely appealing. I think she's incredibly cool. I do think she has a masculine energy to her, which I think is fantastic. I love it. I just absolutely adore the choices that she made. I think she just couldn't look better. But that's just Grace as a fan. Business Grace is like, oh no, I hate to say it, but let's regroup. Let's see here. And then Steven says, why is there a lack of press tour a month out? There's barely any promotional campaign with stars. Is it because of the Joaquin drama? I don't think Joaquin Phoenix even promoted the first one that much. I don't think he likes doing press. And I think that they feel that the movie promotes itself. Also, we're still a little early. I think we're a little early for a push. The movie comes out first week of October. That's 3 weeks away. I think they probably wouldn't start really pushing it until 2 weeks beforehand. Let's see here. And then Leroy says, feel like Margot Robbie somewhere sipping her karma tea. No, I think Margot Robbie's a nice person and would like to see Lady Gaga succeed. Remember, she wanted Lady Gaga to be her Black Canary in Birds of Prey. And Lady Gaga was like, why am I your backup dancer? Right? Although, it seems to not have worked out. Robin Zilla says, I think Gaga's lane is camp and Ryan Murphy type projects. I don't know. I want to be clear. I have been absolutely in love with all the choices that she has made. I've loved her in the trailers. I just think she looks phenomenal in the role, but I do worry that that's for women. I think that she might have created a Harley Quinn that appeals to women and gays, and that's not enough to drive a comic book movie at the box office. Jamie says, I just know what the movie is about? I think it's really the Harley Quinn story, but I think people might also feel they know it. But I don't even think it's being done correctly here. Elpidio says, Multiverse of Madness did better thanks to Wanda. Something else here is at play. But Wanda was very appealing to men. I told you when I went to the press screening, I had 2 straight guys sitting behind me who were like in college. And it was so funny to hear them talk. They were talking about Wanda, and they were like, I love her costume. One of them said, I love her costume. It's like respectful, but still very sexy. And I was like, he gets it. But Wanda is very appealing, I think, in that regard. That's another reason Wanda's such a great character. She has broad appeal. She appeals to women, the LGBTQ fandom, and straight guys. Cody says, if well done, could Gaga's performance be a saving grace for the film and get people into the theater after opening weekend? Well, hopefully they'll say that people liked her the best and that Gaga fans went the most. That would be nice. Let's see here. Splengy says they saw the movie in Venice. I can't give away anything about the ending, Splengy. I just know that it was the same ending, but yet the circumstances were originally something else. Adams here says, I'm still so impressed by that smile scene. Yeah, it looks incredible. Thank you, Julio. All right, let's go to the last story, and then we'll do Ask Me Anything, because we're already in an hour. All right, hold on. All right, this is an interesting story. I was like, well, how am I going to fill the third spot? Boom, baby. All right, so this was interesting to me because here's a way. Some of you always wonder, why do some movies win Oscars and others don't? Well, here is a great case study of A24 and its too many Oscar contenders and why some of them are going to move forward and some of them won't. So before the film last couple of 2 festivals, it looked like Civil War, and we live in time where potentially strong awards contenders. Oh, that's right, Sing Sing. That's right, Kay Walton. Also the movie Sing Sing, which is about a theater or a singing group, a musical arts therapy group in prison. And it stars a real individual who went through that program actually in prison and then plays a version of himself. But I've heard that A24 is probably going to abandon all of these films and focus on the films that it just picked up at the festivals that have a lot of heat. And so those films, these two and Sing Sing, simply because there just isn't enough money in A24's awards chest, war chest, those other movies are probably going to be abandoned. All right, so what's going to be pushed instead? All right, so Baby Girl. Baby Girl is not so much the film itself, but Nicole Kidman is likely going to maybe win another Oscar for Best Actress. This is being pushed as a female-centric film, which is from a women's perspective, like Presumed Innocent or Basic Instinct. These films about obsession, but it's always in the past been from a male perspective. And here, a very successful woman's life is going to spiral out of control because of her own affair. But, this time she's going to be the one having the affair instead of, a guy being at the center of it. This is an extremely, from what I hear, a pretty, let's just say, very hard R. It's not mainstream at all. That's right. As Steven said, very spicy. That's a spicy meatball. Or I guess in this case, 2 spicy meatballs. Oh, then you got your, that's only a joke I could make in a late night stream. All right? But that's what the movie is. So we'll see. It comes out for Christmas. And I think that they're not going to be pushing this movie overall, but for Nicole Kidman. But, that's going to take a lot of money. They're going to spend a lot of money to do that. Then, that's right, Christmas. It's crazy that it's Christmas. The reason it's Christmas is because it'll come out in limited release in Christmas just to qualify, and then it'll open and expand during January, February. All right, then there's also, A24 went on a buying spree. I have to say, I'm very impressed. So Luca Guadagnino's Queer really made a big splash. And I think Daniel Craig, and probably the whole film, is going to really be pushed hard. I think people are going to be very, very supportive of this. So, and I think it's Luca Guadagnino's time. I think he's very talented. Daniel Craig is really pushing this film. And it's supposed to be extraordinarily well done. This is the film that everybody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to see it. It doesn't even have a release date set yet. We'll talk about a rumor in a moment. But a lot of heat coming off of Venice. Challengers was a good movie. I liked it too, but it's just not going to work. Yes, Queer is based on the book, so it's somewhat of a true story. I really think this is going to potentially do well. And then, so I saw somebody say that The Brutalist, who said that? The Brutalist has Kay Walton. The Brutalist has Oppenheimer-level buzz. Well, it certainly looks like that. Here's Brady Corbet. He's the director, writer, co-writer. He won Best Director, I believe the youngest person ever to do so at Venice. There he is with his award. And that certainly looks pretty Nolan-y. And apparently he made it for just $10 million. Now, The Brutalist is kind of like if Christopher Nolan made the Pianist. What's that Adrian Brody movie? Right? Remember? That was a very big deal. This is also spinning out of World War II. The Pianist. This is also a movie spinning out of World War II about a man who comes to America to try and rebuild his life after being in a concentration camp and has a very difficult time. Not only dealing with other people's prejudices, including from even his own community, but also his own demons. That's right, an immigrant who's an architect, as Kay Walton points out. Oh, that's very Nolan-y. And then also the problems that he has with his own family, and how do you bounce back? Obviously, how do you have any semblance of a normal life if you manage to survive concentration camps. Adrian Brody is in this. Guy Pearce is in it. Alessandra Nivola. Felicity Jones, I believe. So it's, it's getting a lot of hype. We'll see how the film performs. I think A24 will ignite that Nolan-y fandom. I don't know if it's going to make a ton of box office, but I think it kind of checks a lot of boxes that people want to see. Also, I have to tell you that Brady Corbert is a really interesting story himself. He is an actor. He has been trying to be an actor, or was for quite some time, before deciding to go behind the camera. And also, I have to tell you, his mother worked the front desk, was and also ran the office for PMC, which is the company. I don't know if she still holds this position, but she used to back in the day, which is the company that owns all three of the trades. So the Corbett family is well known to that company, which is, a very, it's an interesting story. It's a really interesting story. And she was a very nice woman, incredibly nice woman. So, he doesn't come from a big Hollywood family. This is a family that really struggled and made their way and came up. But yeah, so very, 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 very interesting story. Garnet Fire, I think based on the hype that The Brutalist has, The Brutalist is a contender in every single category. The Brutalist might end up being that film that comes out of nowhere and dominates, if not wins, everything when it comes to the awards. So, Slade, I didn't even know there was something called Brutalist architecture. Obviously, it's meant to have more than one meaning, but that's pretty interesting. All right, I'll have to look into that for when I ultimately review the film. I don't know how much it's going to push, interest from general audiences, but I think this movie is going to do very, very well on the awards circuit. Now, here's another interesting question. Okay, so sorry, Brady. Hold on. Let me get all these movies in here so you can see them. We've got The Brutalist, Baby Girl. What's that? All right. Now, there's a rumor going around that I was hearing actually last night that potentially would any of these movies be moved to next year because to give them maybe a better chance? Would A24 push any of these films to be released later so that they would not cannibalize each other? And I have to say that I think that is a ridiculous suggestion because these movies have heat today. And I think they're better off fighting it out for a couple of Oscars. I think maybe because they're all so strong and there are other movies coming along as well that are strong, that maybe each of these can maybe get if I had to guess, I'd say this is probably a good contender for picture, director, and screenplay, actress, and then probably actor and maybe supporting actor and maybe also director. And so, ultimately maybe this wins maybe The Brutalist wins picture or screenplay or picture. This wins actress. And then maybe, Luca Guadagnino wins for this. Just let's see what happens. But I think it would kill any of these three movies to be delayed. So, anybody have any questions about this before we get to the Q&A? Danny says, what's your favorite A24 movie so far? Ooh, I don't know. I'm not a big I really like The Iron Claw. And I felt bad that didn't get any attention. I thought that was a great movie. Jose, that's right. Mickey Madison for Anora is supposed to be a strong contender as well. Although it's always scary. Does your movie peak too early? Did Anora already peak? And is everyone going to run and back these other things? I think she'll probably almost certainly be nominated, Mickey Madison for Anora. I don't know if she's going to win. That's right, Kay Walton. Amelia Perez is a big contender from Netflix. Nacho, I don't know about Angelina Jolie. I saw a clip from that Maria Callas movie and it looked absolutely awful. I'm glad you got a membership to pay. Tennessee Shad says, I'll settle this. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is the best A24 film. I love it. All right. Rippy says, would love to see a diverse winner of Best Actress for once. That would be nice. But I believe I think Amelia Perez has some candidates, so that might happen. I believe I don't know if she's supporting or lead, but there's a trans actress, which would be very interesting if a trans actress won Best Actress. I think that would be a very interesting conversation. Elpidio says challengers should at least be nominated for sound. Maybe, we'll see. But you gotta run the campaign. Zoe Saldana Malik, I heard, is supporting. Fellow Aussian says Ariana Grande's chances for Wicked, I think quite low. I think Ariana Grande just wants that movie to do okay. I'm very nervous about Wicked's performance. I don't see a lot of mainstream interest for that movie. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. Boy, that A24 logo, I love the way that looks next to the Oscar. That's so pretty. I love it. All right, so let's do the Q&A. Woohoo! 10 minutes. So 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes. Zeke says, Grace, you have written a comic book series. Do you think you could write a movie script? Also, how was your day? My day was very good. Thank you for asking. I went to film school. I've written movie scripts. 3-act structure is difficult. But yeah, I mean, I've done them. I think they're a lot of fun to write, in fact. Mika says, Peter Cushing lawsuit thoughts. My big question is, why did it take so long for them to bring the lawsuit? Rogue One came out a long time ago. Why are they only suing now? That's the only thing that gives me pause. Paul Brunel says, currently working my way through every Disney animated film. Just finished Bambi. What is your favorite Disney film made during Walt's lifetime? Well, Peter Pan, they're so problematic now. But I think Peter Pan is very charming. I guess my favorite one is Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty is my favorite Disney animated film, especially that of 2D hand-drawn. I just think that's just fantastic and phenomenal. I just love that film. But it's really fun to watch the early ones, Paul, like Bambi and Snow White. You can almost see the planes of artwork, of animation as they move. It's really stunning to see the craftsmanship. Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, I think Florence Pugh has the appeal you're talking about as far as gays and both bros liking her. I do think so. I like Florence Pugh a lot. I'm a big fan. Although I don't like her hair in the new movie. I'm upset that she doesn't have the braids. MM92 says, hi Grace, love your work. In your opinion, what is the biggest mistake studios make in being disconnected or out of touch with movie audiences? I think that they don't enjoy their own work. I think that, they're not fans themselves and they don't usually tend to employ fans or even check with fans. And I think that's really a problem. I think they don't understand how audiences react because they're not part of the audience. Guilherme Moreira says, Olsen has a stacked slate coming up. She was just in Toronto and doing promo for her movie with Natasha Lyonne and Carrie Coon. No one's going to watch that movie. I hope she had fun making it. Let's see here. Adam Sphere says, who wins in a fight, Wanda or Captain Marvel? Ooh, Wanda, because she could just turn people to silly string, apparently. Danny, I'm hoping to review Agatha and the Penguin Weekly. I mean, unless the viewership numbers are just too low. And even then, I'll try and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'll have to see. I mean, it's a huge amount of work to do the breakdowns, but at the same time, are we doing this or not? Poke, I can't spoil the Penguin. I'm sorry. Even if you put it in all caps. Romani says, long time, first time. The show Lost had over 100 episodes in 6 years. Today we'd be lucky to get a second season of a 10-episode show in 3 years. Do you think studios will improve this? That's an interesting question. I think the issue is that they don't have the same machine up and running that they did with network television. I also think that it's a different business model. It used to be that you wanted a bunch of episodes to sell them into syndication. One of the Wayans brothers was just talking about this business model the other day, and I thought it was really interesting. However, today, since streaming services do the content, you're immediately already in syndication. So there's no need to it used to be you need 100 episodes to go into syndication. That's why I think once they hit the 5th season, they would always have a celebration because they're like, we're getting paid for life. You'd always see them having a cake when they hit the syndication level because it was a money cake. They were like, oh, we're getting paid. But that's not the way it is anymore. Even if things, that's why also I really get upset when people are like, they're laundering money. They're not laundering money. They're paying the bonuses up front because they're not allowing anyone to share in the royalties going forward. So they pay everything up front, and that just goes to show you how much the stuff makes if it does well, in the long run. They feel it's okay to put that much money up front because they'll eventually recoup it. The only problem is that these things are a failure out of the gate, and therefore, when you give people residuals, it minimizes your risk. So that's something the streamers are going to have to figure out. Star Wars Opinion says, Grace, how many memberships do I have to gift you to watch the first episode of Young Justice? There's not an amount you can gift, because that's not a good use of my time, I'm afraid. They're not making any more I gotta be honest with you. They're not making any more Young Justices. I don't personally have an interest in it, and there's nothing for me to cover. And so I just have I'm so behind, I had some other stuff I had to do this week, and so I didn't get to post as many videos as I wanted. So I'm just trying to keep my head above water on the stuff that I can cover. So that's just kind of the situation that I'm in. But I'm sorry, and I appreciate you wanting me to watch it. But I respect you enough to tell you the truth. All right. Matt says, there's a description of an early showing of the new Superman movie trailer. Is this true? I haven't heard anything about it. And it would be ridiculously early. Why would they have it now? It doesn't come out until July of next year. Maybe they just show the logo. I hope James Gunn doesn't put something for Superman in front of Joker 2. How many times is he going to make this mistake? He's like, I loved The Flash so much that I'm hiring the director to do Brave and the Bold. And then he's like, oh no, I'm stuck with this guy. So slow your roll, James. Maybe he wants to show it at New York Comic Con where he's going to be there with Creature Commandos. But then do a DC panel. Why are you going to sneak a Superman thing into Creature Commandos? Which, by the way, I don't think anyone's going to be interested in whatsoever. It's just Monster Suicide Squad, which that's what they should have called it. And then I think more people would have watched it. I'd be like, it's just Dark Suicide Squad. So just call it that. Glubby Snot says, sorry, I'm behind here. Happy to see you too, Grace. Update, I'm in a better place from family member grief from several weeks ago. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. You will survive this. You will move on, Glubby. Griffin also likes Sleeping Beauty. Hercules is his favorite Renaissance, as the animation is unique there too. Yeah, obviously I like Beauty and the Beast. I gotta tell you, I don't know if it's a good idea to have all the Disney movies available all the time. I think it takes away, you're like, oh man, I just can't watch Beauty and the Beast anymore. I think it takes away a little bit of the specialness. It used to be, you're like, oh, you only have a year to watch it. You're like, I better watch it. And so I think maybe they should have a rotation on whether or not they're on Disney Plus or not. Let's see. Jesus says, top 5 Michael Keaton movies. Ooh. Multiplicity. I love that movie. Multiplicity, Batman Returns, the first Batman. Hold on, I just need 2 more. Beetlejuice, obviously the first one. I remember watching Gung Ho. My parents rented it when I was very little, and I remembered liking it, but I don't know enough about it. I guess those are the ones I think are the best. And he was very funny as Ken in Toy Story. Let's see here. Chico says, Grace, what are your thoughts on Ryan Murphy's Monster series with the Menendez brothers? Big hit like the Dahmer series? I don't know. Every Ryan Murphy show seems the same to me. But I was surprised that Dahmer did as well as it did. Dahmer did really well. I think because it was just so sick and twisted. So let's see I'm surprised that, considering what I read about what the Menendez father did, I'm really surprised that Javier Bardem is playing that role. So let's see. I don't know. Thanks, Danny. Ricardo wants a Salem's watch along. Maybe. I mean, that's Joker weekend, so let me see what my schedule's like. Thank you, Ethan. That means a lot to me. Roll the Bryce says, Beetlejuice screening was ruined by a guy who followed my family and I outside for leaving our bucket and cups. He yelled at us and then said he would unalive us? That's horrible that happened to you. Although, I hope that actually happened and you're not... Some people like to come in here and I think that is the same person. Well, you got your clip. I hope you're happy. All right. All right, let's see here. Unless that's a true story, then I feel bad for you. Ethan says, do you have any idea when we're getting the Thunderbolts trailer? Maybe around the holidays. Iceman 3000 says, hey Grace, I'm at work looking forward to listening to Scream on my way home. Oh, I'm glad we could, thanks for checking in while you were at work. Hello. Drive safe getting home. Jesus Lopez says, hey Grace, just wanted to, you to know that I love all your funny voices. Thank you. I like doing them, so I'm glad you enjoy them. And Claudinia says, I got invited to my first private movie screening. What's your advice for a first timer? Oh, that's exciting. Get there early so you can get your choice seat. Oh yeah, Birdman. How did I not mention Birdman from Michael Keaton? Definitely Birdman. But Claudinia, get there early. You definitely want to get there early so you get a good seat. Make sure you thank whoever invited you. Since it's your first one, thank them after. Send them a follow-up email to thank them as well. And I hope you like the movie. Oh yeah, and the McDonald's movie too. Boy, Michael Keaton's had a good career. I like that, Michael, The Founder. That's a great movie. Wanda's attorney says, thoughts on Wicked Part 2, moving away from Zootopia. But it's still too close, Wanda's attorney. It's just a couple of days away. You're like, who's scheduling these movies over there, Universal? Zootopia 2 should be big. And then Buck's Basement says, Grace, are you excited for Geek Week? Rumor is Joe Manganiello is hosting, but it's going to reveal he's playing the villain in One Piece Season 2. What's he going to be? That what is it, like that toxic guy meme, like the Chud guy? Is that who he's going to be? And Josh Loves Movies says, we should do an Inside Out 2 watch-along. I don't know, since it's already been on digital, that dilutes people who've seen it. It used to be fun because everybody would watch it at once because it became available at home for everybody at the same time. But now with the staggered release, it's like it dilutes who's ready to watch it. And Diego says, hi Grace, was talking to a friend who makes a good comic. We decided on character development, story, and world building. What do you look for when reading? I gotta tell you, Diego, even though I was a comic book writer, I think art is the most important. Sorry to hear that, Aided Buffalo. And Darcy Clark says, hey Grace, what are you thinking of the season of Only Murders in the Building? Yeah, it is very emotional. Steve Martin's really breaking my heart. But I have to say, I think it's the best since the first season. All right, I better get going. It's pretty late. It's 10 o'clock at night. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me for this late night stream. I had a lovely time talking with you as always. And I will see you on Sunday for Movie Math. And then, of course, the Emmys are on Sunday night as well. Who's watching the Emmys? Who's watching the Emmys? No one. Oh, some people are. All right, that's good. All right. Maybe we'll do something. All right. See you on Sunday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. More videos for sure next week. Lots more videos. Okay. Bye-bye.